So, hello everybody, welcome. I saw a lot of familiar faces on the attendee list and lots of new ones as well, which is really positive. So thank you for joining us today. For those that don't know me, my name is Tom Cuthell. I'm the event director for AfricaCom and Africa Tech at Informa. On this call today, I'm also joined by Becky, our business development director, who I think many of you will already know, and Matthew, the general manager of Swapcard, who you probably don't know, but you will get to know quite shortly. The purpose of this call is to introduce you to the new digital platform that we're going to use to host Africa Tech Festival in November. In terms of an agenda for today, I'll say a few brief words just to set the scene, then I think we'll jump straight into the demo so you can see an interactive platform, and then we'll pause for about 15 minutes of questions at the end. Now, you will be able to ask questions throughout by typing them into the chat box. So we'll try to address them as they come up. Time to actually ask kind of more extended questions at the end. I'd say probably given the format of this and the time constraints, limit questions to the platform itself, I think, in the event. And if you have questions about individual packages, reach out to your account managers, the contact details of which we'll share with everybody afterwards. Now, hopefully, as most of you now know, a few weeks ago, after a long period of review and consultation, we decided to transform AfricaCom, Africa Tech, and all of the co-located events that typically happen in Cape Town in that week into a virtual event. Africa Tech Festival is the name of this new proposition, and the theme for 2020 is Resilience and Growth, Uniting Tech and Talent for Socioeconomic Impact. Matthew, could you just proceed to the next slide, please? I'll press on while that's loading. So what Matthew is about to show you is an overview of the event as a whole. It will feature 20 conference tracks, a virtual exhibition with virtual booths, virtual booth tours, AI-powered matchmaking, integrated video chat, a larger, more geographically diverse audience than ever before. And that's one of the really exciting things I think about virtual events is accessibility. There's no flights required, no hotel nights, no visas, just an internet connection. As you can imagine, being an events business, we at Informa have spent the last 3-4 months scouring the world to find what we consider to be the very best virtual event platforms with the most advanced functionality to deliver the greatest value ultimately to our communities and to our clients. We've done a huge amount of work on this. We've run focus groups, we've worked with behavioural psychologists who specialise in digital experiences. We've attended hundreds of virtual events, and at this stage, we've run quite a few of our own. Throughout this process, we've learned a huge amount, and I'd say now we have a very clear understanding of what it takes to design, build, and run a world-class virtual event. So, obviously, right now we're limited for time, and I'm keen to get straight into the demo, but there are just a few points that I'd like to emphasise before we go into that. I think number one, the key thing, the key learning is that you can't just transition live events into a virtual environment. People behave very differently, they interact differently, they consume content differently. You need to build something that is fully optimized for virtual. Designing a virtual environment is the key thing, I think, is to maximize engagement of attendees, and that requires a whole new approach. So our choice of Swapcard as the platform for Africa Tech Festival reflects this point. I think some virtual event platforms that I'm sure many of you will have attended events on and interacted with recreate the look and the feel of a live event. You walk through a virtual expo and so on. And Swapcard doesn't do that. Instead, it looks more like a social network. So think Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube, this kind of look and feel. This means that Africa Tech Festival attendees will be consuming content, connecting with one another and connecting with you, and exploring your products and services in a way that's already very familiar to them, very intuitive, which I think is a positive. And I won't go too much more into that because Matthew will talk about that in more detail and you'll be able to see for yourselves, but it's an important point to make, I think. Finally, on content. So when it comes to virtual conference content, it really is about quality over quantity. The way we've structured things, we've redeveloped the program so you can expect the same breadth of topics, and you're going to have the same, visionary expert speakers that you would normally see at AfricaCom and at Africa Tech, but the content will be delivered in 90-minute blocks, and each day of the event will have 3 90-minute blocks. They're short, they're impactful, and then around those we'll have the networking time, the meeting time, the expo time. So again, we'll follow up with a bit more on that shortly. So, I mean, we have loads to share with you about Africa Tech Festival over the coming weeks, but the focus of today's session is really the platform and sponsorship and exhibition opportunities related to it. So at this point, I'll hand over to Matthew, who, as I said, is from Swapcard. He's going to share his screen and begin the live demo. Thank you again for joining us. I really hope that you will all be as excited about the opportunities presented by this excellent platform and by Africa Tech Festival as we are. Matthew, I think that's over to you.
Excellent. Thanks, Tom. I'm excited to walk everybody through the platform today. One note is if you have questions during the demonstration here, we'd love to take them during the session. So if you look on your screen, you should see a little option that says Q&A. Just tap on that and write your question, and then we'll be addressing most of the questions during the presentation. Tom will ask those to me, and then some of the questions we'll take at the end. We're also recording this presentation, so if you want to share it with anybody after the fact, you'll be able to do so. So let's get started. I'm going to show you an example of Swapcard running on a mobile device and on a laptop. So you'll see on the right-hand side of the screen an example of the app running on my iPhone. A lot of attendees will access the platform on their iPhone or Android phone, whereas others will access it on their web browser, on their laptop or desktop. So I'm going to concentrate mostly on the laptop and desktop version, but we'll show a few things on the iPhone as well. And then I will be showing a few different example events, so you can see exactly how we're going to set this up for Africa Tech Fest. Let's see. So you should just, if you want to confirm if you can see the platform running right now. Okay, I'm having a slight issue with my connection here, so give me one moment to share here. I'm gonna. Pardon me, one moment. Should get this fixed. All right, so you should see the screen now. Let me know if that is that's not the case. Just to summarize that again, so now on the right-hand side, you should see my iPhone running the application, and on the left, you should see it on my browser. So if that's not the case, please let me know, and I'll be sure to adjust that. But thanks for the notifications there. Great, so I'm going to expand the web version here. This is how most of the attendees are going to be accessing the platform. Everyone who registers will get an invitation. That invitation, they'll receive it by email. They'll click on the link and it will take them to this page. It's going to automatically log them in, so it's very easy for them to access the platform. This is the home page. This is the page that gets the most visibility. We split this page and most of our other pages into 3 columns. So on the left-hand side here is my personal information and my company's information. So when you log in, you'll be able to edit your personal profile here. You'll want to complete this profile, add your bio and your picture and your interests, and this will make it easier for attendees to find you. You'll also see your company profile. This is how you'll edit your virtual booth, and I'll go into this more at the end. On the right-hand side of the screen, you'll see this column advertisement. So we're going to have multiple column advertisements available for sale in the various sponsorship packages. So your advertisement will show up here. Every time an attendee comes to this page, they're going to see more and more of these, they're going to see different advertisements. Up here at the top, you'll see there's an image. We'll have a welcome image at first, but when the sessions are being broadcast during those 90-minute chunks, whatever session is live is going to be displayed right there, so people can see that on the homepage. Below that image, we have the various features of the application. We're going to walk through a lot of these. Most of the features will be available to all attendees, but we'll have some features that will just be limited to some specific groups of attendees, so we can gate different content and different features to everyone who's coming. Below that, we're highlighting some of our sponsors. So our larger sponsors are going to appear higher on this list, and their logos will be bigger, and so they'll get a little bit more visibility. So we're going to jump into the sessions, and I'm going to show you an example of what it will look like when you have a sponsored session. So when attendees look at the list of all of the sessions, they can see everything that's available each day. They can run various filters on the left-hand side to narrow down the sessions that they're looking for. You'll see these logos of the various sponsors. So if you're sponsoring a session, your logo will appear right on the agenda here, so attendees will know what session that you're sponsoring. When they open up your session, they'll find a ton of information. So we'll start on the left here. So on the left, we have these session recommendations. So before and after the event begins, when someone accesses your session, they'll see other similar sessions they may like. When your event is live, they'll see a playlist of the current sessions and the sessions that are coming up next. On the right-hand side, we have this live discussion, and we're going to go through this in more detail in a moment. We also have a post-session feedback that I'll talk about later. Underneath the video of the session, we have more information about it. We'll link to your virtual booth within the application. So if somebody's watching your sponsored session and they really like the content, they can click into your booth directly from the session. We'll also have profiles for your speakers. So whoever from your company is speaking or acting as a moderator or a panelist, their profiles will be linked here, so someone can connect directly with that person. And then below that, you'll see we'll highlight some of the attendees, so you'll be able to see all the attendees coming to your events, and or to your sessions, and you'll be able to connect with them. So let's view the session in full screen. This is how most people are going to watch the session. So while you're speaking, you're going to encourage attendees to write comments and ask questions, and you can address those. We have on the right, we have this live discussion. So you want to monitor this during your session. We have 3 tabs here. One of them is the polling tab. So before your session starts, you'll be able to write polling questions or quiz questions, and you'll be able to publish these at certain points of time during your session. And so if you want to get feedback from the audience that will help you with your presentation or help you with selling your products and services, you may want to ask those polls. And then you as a speaker or your staff who may be moderators, they can write polls during your session if you like. So if something comes up and you haven't written the poll ahead of time, you can write these polls right in the middle of the session. We also have this questions tab. So attendees will ask questions during the presentation. Other attendees can vote these questions up or down, and you can respond to them either in text, or we may have a live Q&A time, after your presentation time. And so the nice thing about these voting is that it will allow the audience to kind of moderate the questions for you, so it's easy for you to know which questions to ask. We also have this chat function. So in the chat function, attendees can just write general comments or questions, and you can also respond to these. If you have sales staff that are watching your presentation, you can tell your staff, hey, if people are writing positive comments and it seems like they may be interested in your products, you can have your staff actually click on someone's profile and pull up their profile and message them directly and try and connect with them or set up an appointment. So I'm going to leave the session area now, and I'm going to show you how you can find attendees and how you can find leads and set up meetings with them. If you have any questions about these sessions or the live broadcasting, please ask them now. We did have a question from Lucy about saving your schedule to your Outlook or your calendar, and yes, you can do that. So attendees can, once they create their personal agenda, and they do that on this page by just adding these little calendar icon, tapping on the little calendar icon, then they'll be able to save that to their agenda. So I'm going to move over to the attendee networking features now and show you how you can find attendees and send them requests to meet with them. You'll notice as I leave the session that on the screen here, the video of the session will persist. This is really important because sometimes you'll be giving a presentation, attendees might be really interested in your company, then they'll click on your company booth or they'll click on your speaker profile. And by continuing to play the session, they're not going to miss any of your great content. And then Tom, if you want to moderate the questions, I'm happy to answer any of the questions about sessions now, if there's any ones you'd like me to address.
I think we're okay now, Matthew. I'm keeping an eye on it and answering some in the chat box. But yeah, I think we're okay unless anybody would like to ask a question now.
Great, sounds good. Well, I'll continue, but yeah, you can ask the questions, and either Tom will answer via text, or he can ask them to me, and I'll respond to them. So now I'm looking at the list of attendees. We're going to have thousands of people coming to the event, and we want to make it as easy as possible for you to find the right buyers for your products and services. So what we do is during registration, we're going to ask the attendees demographic questions. We're going to ask them about their interests, their buying needs, and then we're going to use that to rank them for each individual attendee. So we have an artificial intelligence powered algorithm that's going to look at the attendees' registration data, but it also looks at a lot of other data. So it looks at how attendees use the platform, what sessions they sign up for, what booths they visit, what comments they write, the other attendees they're connected with, and it's going to use that to rank each attendee for you specifically. So when you see the list of attendees, it's going to look different than everybody else's list of attendees. So I'm on the attendee list here, and you can see at the top here, these are the recommended people for me. The recommendations work similar for sessions and for products, where attendees will be encouraged to attend sessions that our AI thinks will be a good fit for them, and our attendees will be shown products that our AI thinks are products they may want to buy. As you're looking at the list of attendees, you can also run filters for the types of people that you want to connect with. So if you want to search for people in specific industries or specific roles or from specific countries or regions or categories or tags, you can run those filters, and this will better help you find the people that you want to set up appointments with. You can also search directly for a person, a company, a keyword, a title, or anything like that. Below the filters, we have this option that says get better recommendations. We'd love you to add your search criteria here. So add in the types of people that you're most interested in, the industries, the products, and this will give you better and better recommendations. Below that, we have this visibility option. So if you have anyone for your team who you don't want to be listed publicly in the attendee list, they can make themselves hidden. So I'm going to tap on one of these attendees here. I'll tap on Kathy. So Kathy was recommended to me as being my top match. So as I'm looking at Kathy's profile, I can read about her interests, her bio. I can see what company she's with. I can see what sessions she's speaking at or attending. And I can decide, oh, Kathy would be a good fit for me. So let's connect with her. So I've got a bunch of options for connecting with her. I can send her a connection request here. This is kind of like on LinkedIn. When you send somebody a connection request on LinkedIn, ideally you want to write a reason of why you'd like to connect with her. Another option is I can schedule a one-on-one appointment time. So depending on your sponsorship package, you're going to have a certain number of appointments included in your package. And ideally you want to fill these up with scheduled meetings, because these scheduled meetings are going to be with qualified attendees, and it's going to be a great way for you to connect one-on-one with the people that are attending. So you have times here that you and the attendee are mutually available. So any of these times, you're free, and in this example, Kathy is free as well. So I'm going to choose to meet with Kathy at 9:30. We're going to have a virtual meeting via video, and you'll be able to write a message. So you'll want to write a message to her explaining why you want to meet with her. This attendee is going to get requests from other exhibitors and sponsors. So you want to give her a reason why you want to meet with her. So hopefully she accepts the meeting request. Once you've connected with other attendees, you'll see this list of connections. So these are all the people that you've connected with, and you can open up any of their profiles. And after you've connected with them, you're going to see here all of their contact details are listed. So when I was looking at Kathy's profile, I didn't see her phone number. I didn't see her email because that was private because we had not yet connected. Whereas when I look at Alex's profile here, I can see his phone number and his email address, and now I can save that information. I also have this lead scoring option. So just like at a live event where you can scan someone's badge and take some notes about them, you can do that right here in Swapcard. So you're able to score this lead from 1 to 5 stars, and you're able to tag the products and services that you'd want to sell to them. Below that, you can take notes about them. So it's important that you train your sales staff to do this. So after the event, when you download your list of all of your leads, you have a lot of data about them, and you know the best way to follow up with those people. Another thing you can do is you can chat with the people that you have connected with. So I've got this chat option. So here I'm looking at my Evolve team, which is like our customer support person for this event. And I can send them messages here. I could send them documents. I could also start a one-on-one video call. So when I was looking at Kathy's profile, I sent her a request to have a scheduled meeting. In this example, I'm going to have an impromptu meeting. And so during this presentation, I can, during this time, I can actually have a presentation. I can do a video call. I can present my screen to, in this case, to the Evolve team, just like you could do, say, in Zoom. So I'm using Zoom to do this webinar, but I'm using Swapcard to do a demo live during the event. So you'll be able to give your own product demos right inside Swapcard. Another thing you can do is, let's say you're talking with a prospect and you say, hey, let's go watch the general session. You can actually leave this area of the application and the video chat will persist. Just like when you left a session, the session video persists. You can do the same thing as you're having a one-on-one call. So we can go in, we can watch a general session and have a little watch party with the person I'm having the video call with. So you can have a video call and watch a live session all at the same time. So I'm going to move on from the networking features and we're going to jump into your virtual booth. If you have questions about the networking features, please ask those now and I'll be sure to answer those now, and some of them we may answer a little bit later on. So let's talk about how an attendee finds your booth. Unless Tom, I don't know if you want to jump in with any questions or if I should continue with the booths.
Just having a look now. Matthew, I think there's one that we've answered about the meeting scheduling integrating with Outlook and other calendars.
Yes, so at any time, an attendee can tap on this My Event option. This will show them their personal information, so all of the sessions they favorited, all of their one-to-one appointments, all of their connections, their wish list of products, their bookmarked sessions, and then they can download that directly into their calendar and save it to their calendar. And they're able to do that on the web version as well as on the mobile version of the platform.
Thanks, Matthew. And there's another one here as well, which is an interesting one that I know we've been looking at. So how well will the platform work for people in Africa with internet connections that may not be particularly good?
Yeah, so the nice thing about the video streaming will be all the videos will be hosted on a platform like Vimeo or potentially YouTube. Each of the sponsors can choose which platform they want to display their video on. The nice thing about those products is they can detect what bandwidth your internet connection has and they can lower the quality. So let's say you post a 4K video on your sponsorship page. If the person visiting your page does not have a high bandwidth internet connection, YouTube will not display a 4K video for them. They'll automatically lower the resolution to say like 1080p or 720 or something like that. So the person will be watching it in a lower quality video, so it won't take up as much bandwidth. Another thing you can do is when you have a one-on-one video conversation, if both parties turned off their camera and you just had an audio conversation, then it will have a much reduced bandwidth requirement. The actual Swapcard platform itself is very lightweight. You can see it's just a flat page with some images, and it's not it's not a high bandwidth requirement page.
Thanks, Matthew. And the last question for now is, are there plugins with CRM tools?
There are not direct plugins with CRM tools, but you're able to download your leads as an Excel file or your contacts as a contact file. And then you can upload those into your CRM or your email automation product. And once I show the booth management product, the booth management page, which we call the exhibitor portal, I'll show you how you can do that.
Great, thanks, Matthew.
Excellent. So let's we're going to explore what your exhibitor booth is going to look like. And so there's a bunch of ways somebody can find your booth or get to your booth. One is from the homepage. If you have purchased an advertisement here, they can click on that ad and that will take them to your booth. Another option is we're going to list our biggest sponsors at the bottom of the page. And again, someone could click on one of those sponsor logos and go directly to your page. Another option is if I'm looking at a sponsored session, I can see your booth and I can click on that booth and go directly to your page. And then I can also click on the list of all of the booths. So in this example, we call this partners. We'll probably call it sponsors or exhibit booths or something for Africa Tech Fest. But an attendee will be able to click on that and see all of the booths. So you can see many booths here. We're going to sort the booths by sponsor level. So the larger sponsors will appear at the top. Just like in sessions and in attendees, we have these filters on the left-hand side. So someone can filter by the types of products or services or companies that they may want to see. And then they can click directly on one of these sponsors. Another option is we're going to create an online marketplace. This marketplace will list all the products and services that the booths are offering. So based on your booth package, you'll be able to add a certain number of products and services that you sell. And those packages or those products and services will show up in this online marketplace. Attendees can run filters for the types of products they may be interested in, and then they can open up a profile for one of those products. So you'll have a profile for your company, and then you'll have sub-profiles for each of your products. So I'm looking at an example of a product profile here, and I can read more about the product. I can view an image gallery. I can click to watch a video of the product. I can see who's selling that product, and then I can click into the company booth that's offering the product. So now I'm in the company booth, and this is what your booth page will look like. So at the top of your page, you'll be able to post a video. This video can be a pre-recorded video or it could be a live video. So attendees can see that, learn a little bit more about your company. On the right-hand side, they'll have this private chat. So as an attendee, I can send you a private message, and anyone from your team can be designated to respond to this message. So someone can send a text message, an image, a document, and then people on your team can then view those messages and respond to them. Underneath the video, we have meeting times. So we really want people to set up scheduled one-on-one appointments with you. That way, when you get a request, you can evaluate the request, make sure it's a qualified person, and assign that meeting to one of your sales staff and assign it to the appropriate sales staff. So we're really going to drive people to these appointments. Based on your sponsorship package, you're going to have a certain volume of appointments that you can take, and people will be able to schedule a time with you. And all of these times are mutually available. So there's no back and forth of asking someone when they're available. When they click on this list, they'll see times that you're mutually available. So I'll choose a time here to meet with this booth. I'll say, let's meet. I would like a demo. So the person will send you a message. We're going to encourage them to state kind of why they want to meet with you, and that will better help you evaluate whether you want to accept that meeting. You'll also be able to look at their attendee profile and use that to decide if you want to accept the meeting, and B, which of your sales staff you want to assign to that meeting. You can read more information about the company. You can follow them on social media. You can see their contact details. You can see all of their products that they're selling. So again, these are the sub-profiles within your primary profile of your products and services. Below that, we'll see all your sponsored sessions. So you're going to be able to sponsor, educational content as well as host, product demos or company showcase sessions. We also have these documents. So you'll be able to upload documents like, say, a price list or something like that. And then we also list the team. So you can list all of your booth staff here, and not all of your booth staff needs to be listed. You can decide which booth staff are going to be listed. So you could have some people maybe have like say an engineer or something who's going to be helping out at your booth and maybe jumping into some presentations, but you don't want the attendees setting up a one-on-one meeting with them. So we can allow for that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to jump into what we call the exhibitor portal. This is where you can manage your virtual booth and you know, edit it, add your images and videos and things like that. I'll go through this, and then we're going to pause and take questions about your booth. So if you have questions about your virtual booth or your product listings or the appointments, please ask those now, and then Tom will ask them to me in a couple of minutes here. So currently I'm editing my booth. I can change my logo. I can upload a video. Again, this video could be a live or a pre-recorded video. You'll have the ability to edit your company details, your social media links, your contact details, and so on. You can also upload documents to your booth. So these could be PDF documents, but they could also be other types of files like a Word file, a PowerPoint file, an Excel file, and so on. You'll be able to add products. Depending on your sponsorship level, you'll be able to add a certain number of products. So in this example, I can add up to 5 products. I've already added 4, so I have 1 left that I could add. I can manage all of my meeting requests. So this is showing me all of the meeting requests that I've received as a company and which sales staff or booth staff I've assigned them to. So I can look at my confirmed meetings as well as my declined meetings. So you may get requests from people that you don't want to spend time meeting with during the event. So you may want to decline that meeting, but we still track that so you can follow up with them later on. You can open up any of the meetings and you can see who's it's assigned to. So in this example, you know, Chris from Informa, he's written a little message here. So he's saying, you know, hi, I'm considering all networking platforms right now. And so he's written this message, so I can review that and I can use that to decide if I want to accept the meeting. And in this example, I've assigned the meeting to myself, but I could tap on that sales staff and reassign it to any of my other staff if I like, or I could cancel this meeting. If I'm the sales manager or marketing manager, I may want to export all of these meetings. So you can export these meetings at any time and then use that to follow up with the people later on. You can also see all of the leads that each of your salespeople have gathered. So you may have, you know, 5 or 10 booth staff associated with your booth. This list right here shows all the leads and all the connections of everyone that your team has met with. And then at any time you can export these leads. So you just tap export here, and then you'll see it will download the leads. So now I've downloaded this list, and you'll see it's downloaded as an Excel file rather than, say, a CSV file. So this will make it really easy for you to review this data, and then you can upload these leads into your CRM or into your email marketing product and follow up with the leads once the event is over or even during the event. You can also view your team. So this is all of your booth staff. You'll be able to add a certain amount of booth staff, and then you can give each booth staff different levels of access to the platform. So let's say you can add 10 people. You might make 2 or 3 of the people admins. An admin can edit your booth and assign meetings and things like that. You can also let people take meetings. So you'll have some staff that maybe you don't want taking meetings. You'll make some staff visible in your booth, and you may have other staff that would be hidden and not visible in your booth. So you have total control of that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to jump back into the booth view. If you have more questions about your booth or your company listing, we're gonna answer those now. One last thing I'll show before I jump into that is you do have these analytics visible on the homepage of the exhibitor portal. And so what these analytics are is a way for you to see how many people have visited your booth, how many leads you've collected, how your team has scored those leads, and it's kind of a high-level dashboard. And then after the event, the Informa team can give you a report of everyone who stopped by your booth or visited your session. So Tom, I'll pause here and open up for questions now.
Thanks, Matthew. We've had a few questions about the parent booth, child booth setup. So if you were to set up a country pavilion, for example, how would that work on Swapcard?
Excellent. So yeah, I'll pull up an example. While I'm pulling up an example, maybe do you want to ask the next question and then we'll come back to that one?
Sure. Is there a maximum number of booth staff that you can have on a virtual exhibition booth at any one time?
So there's no maximum in Swapcard. Your sponsorship package may have a limit. So maybe you could address that.
Sure. Yeah. No, I think that's something that Becky can answer in the final Q&A. I think that the functionality, broadly, you can have a good number of people manning a stand at any one time, but there will be certain packages that are enhanced booths with additional functionality. And again, we can share more information on that on an individual basis as a follow-up to this.
Yeah. Excellent. So let me answer your previous question about the country pavilion. So we can have booths within a booth, and then we have products within one of those booths. So in this example, I'm looking at the Amazon pavilion. So this is like an example of a parent booth. Then underneath the Amazon booth, we have some sub booths. So in this example, we call them brands or subsidiaries. And then we could click on one of those other booths within this booth. So that's similar to how a country pavilion may work. We'd list the country at the top, and then inside the country, we'd have a list of maybe 5 or 10 companies within that country.
Thanks, Matthew. I have another one here. If somebody is watching a live session but would like to then go and visit booths and do things elsewhere on the platform, are they able to keep that live session open?
Yes, it will stay open automatically. So I'll show an example of that here. So now I'm opening up a session page. You'll see the video has started. I'm watching the video. Below the video, I see Swapcard is a sponsor. So I tap on the sponsor, and you'll see the video of the session has continued here on the right. I can tap on it and move it around. And so now I'm watching the video on the left of the session while I'm looking at the sponsor booth. And then maybe I decide, oh, you know what? I want to go back into the video. I can just click on the video and it will take me back into that session.
Okay, thanks, Matthew.
Let's see. Any other questions about the booths or the products or the booth meetings? Please ask those now.
Okay, Matthew, had one coming here. Can we add somewhere on the booth which spoken languages are? So a dual translation functionality, I think, is what the question is asking about.
Yeah, so we have some. We can create a custom field here if you like. So we could like link to videos in, say, different languages. You might have, say, 2 or 3 different languages. So we could have links to videos in those languages. For each of your sales staff, we list their title. So maybe you want to, after their title, you could tell your staff to put a comment, write the languages that they speak, so attendees would know which one of those people to connect with. We can support multiple languages for the event. I'm not sure if we'll do that for this event, but if we did want to add additional languages, we can support multiple languages at a single event. So Tom, I'm not sure if that's something we'll do for this event, but you could address that.
Okay, yes, so I think in terms of the event as a whole, it tends to be spoken in English. We do run an event called West AfricaCom, which is also going to be virtual, taking place at the end of September, which is dual language, English and French. But of course, the chat functionality within the platform would enable people to communicate in other languages as well. It's just that the language of the platform for Africa Tech Festival will be English.
Okay, great. So with West AfricaCom, for that event, if you want to add French, we can certainly support 2 languages. So when an attendee first joins, they'd be able to choose whether they want French or English as their primary language, and then they'd see content in that language. As the other questions come in, another thing I'm going to point out is we have this group chat option. These group chat rooms will be based around different topics. One of the topics will be an exhibitor help section. So we'll have this help section. So at any time, exhibitors can come in here and ask questions to our staff. We'll be monitoring this, and we'll be able to answer your questions at any time. We'll have a separate help chat for attendees and another help chat room for speakers, but the exhibitor questions can come in here. So we've covered all of the primary features that I wanted to show today. So now we'll open it up for any general questions. So beyond say just the sponsorship questions, we'll open up to any general questions. And Tom or Becky, you can choose which ones you'd like me to address. And Tom, you're on mute right now.
Thank you. I've just opened the question box, so I'll start filtering those through. Can we just check, Matthew, is Becky added as a panelist and is she able to speak?
I'll check that. If you want to, maybe Becky, you can raise your hand in the audience. There we go. All right, Becky, you should be able to speak now.
Hello.
Okay, Matthew, I have a question here. This is when you are networking with people and you connect with them, what information do you see about that person?
Yeah, let me show you. So before you connect with someone, you're going to see their name, their title, their company, their interests, and their bio. After you connect with someone, you will also see their contact information. So my colleague, Alianor, I'm looking at her profile right now. I've connected with her. So you can see, I can see her phone number, her email address, and her website. And then if she's also made her address public, like her company address, that would be visible here as well.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Matthew, another question. This is about the agenda. How early will the agenda be available to sponsors who have speaking slots so they can promote their sessions?
So that's probably a question maybe better for Becky or you to answer. But yeah, we can make the agenda available as soon as you wish.
Okay, absolutely. So yeah, I think for that we would sponsors and exhibitors of Africa Tech Festival would have priority access in advance, along with the VIP groups, so that networking would be able to begin quicker. So of course, if you had speaking slots on the program, you'd be able to share those externally to generate more interest in those sessions. I have a question here that I can answer. What are the South Africa hours that the show will be open? So it will be open from 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. As I mentioned, the way the event will be structured will be in kind of short bursts of content with networking time in between. And the exhibition will be open for periods of time as well. I think the way we would look to do this is you create surges of activity and interest at key points to ensure that you get good engagement. Of course, everybody on this call has probably experienced many virtual events themselves over the last couple of months, and engagement is different in terms of having a captive audience. So we plan the timings and the order of the sessions very carefully to ensure that for every content session and for each of the networking periods of time, you get maximum engagement from all of the attendees on the platform.
Yeah, and we've got a question from Justin here. He asked, can each of the products have a variety of videos, i.e. overview, demo, etc.? Yes, Justin, if you want to have multiple videos for a product, you can. Those videos would be a link rather than displayed in the profile, like the profile of your company. There'll be a video displayed at the top. For products, there'll be multiple links to videos. So if they tap on the link, it would take them to, say, YouTube or Vimeo or your website or somewhere like that, where they could view those videos.
There's one here for us, which I think is quite relevant. So when will the system be available to sponsors for content creation before the event? So that, I believe, is the 20th of October, we're saying, so you will have access to the platform to be able to upload your content and to create your booth. And then attendees will be a week later, so it's the 27th of October. Another one as well, Matthew, maybe for you, is going back to that country pavilion, so the parent and child we were looking at before. So would the parent company, so the country pavilion in our case, be able to receive information about the performance of companies on their booth, so consolidated information on meetings held?
So basically each each sub booth will track, how much traffic they've had, how many people have visited that booth. So the people that are assigned as booth managers for each of the sub booths will be able to see that data. So if it's a country pavilion and say there's 5 sub booths, the manager of the country pavilion, if we assign them as also a manager of the sub booths, they would be able to see that data. If they were not assigned as a manager of the sub booths, then they would not see that data, but they could certainly request that report from the Informa team, and you could share that.
Okay, 2 questions that I can answer here. One is, will there be time slots for people to look at the booths during the sessions? Yes, absolutely. I think one of the things about AfricaCom and Africa Tech and the events in their physical form is that lots of people engage with the event for different reasons. There are many different user journeys through our event, different communities with different interests. So certainly it won't be a case of only content, then only networking. People will have the options of both. That said, we do it in a sensible way, as I said before. So we would limit blocks of time for people to do this to maximize the engagement and ensure that people are being as proactive as possible with those meetings. But yeah, things will take place simultaneously on the platform. And there was one more question asking about the awards ceremony, the AfricaCom Awards. So yes, the awards are still going ahead. We're looking at running that in a new virtual format as well. Nominations aren't open yet. There's been a slight delay because of the move to virtual, but we'll be announcing information about that and the timeframes over the next couple of weeks.
We did have a question about how different time zones are managed. So I just wanted to let you know that all the times that you see in the platform will be your local time. So when you join whatever time zone your phone or your computer is set to, that's the time that you'll see. So you don't have to worry about time zones. And then there's a follow-up to that. Will the event run for 24 hours? So the platform will be available at any time, so people can come and look at recorded sessions or read about your booth listing anytime. But the one-on-one appointments will only be available during designated times, and the live sessions will be available during designated times. But the replays can be available 24 hours.
Matthew, another one. So can you edit the content during the event as and when the product enhancements have to be made? So can you change the content that you've uploaded during the event?
Yes, you can change it at any time, and it changes in seconds. So you could change it in the middle of a session, or let's say you have a product that you're releasing during the event. As you're giving your product presentation, you could update your company listing with that product details if you like.
Hi, Matthew. I've got another question on here. We've partly touched on this. So it's to do with the internet connection speeds again. And the point is that given the kind of what's happening around the world at the moment, lots of people will be attending virtually via their homes rather than their offices. So it's a question again about slower internet speeds. Is there a minimum connection speed required to get the full experience on the platform?
So basically, if the connection allows you to watch videos, say on YouTube, if you can go to YouTube and watch a video, if your connection's strong enough for that, you'll be fine. If you can't watch a video, it will be the same. You could still open the platform, but you're not going to be able to have a video call within Swapcard. You're not going to be able to view a video session. You could message people. You could write messages via text. And you could open, somebody's profile or company profile. But as far as viewing video, if your bandwidth is not sufficient to view video just on a site like YouTube, it will be the same in Swapcard.
I have another question here, Matthew. Are social handles interlaced with the Swapcard platform?
Yes, so you can you can show your social handles inside your booth, and someone will be able to connect with you on those networks. So like in this example of Swapcard, you'll see our social network handles are here, and someone could tap on it. It would redirect them to, say, the LinkedIn page or the Twitter page or something like that.
Okay, another question here, Matthew. This is about country pavilions again, and that's set up of the parent and the child booths. Will the parent booth be able to receive information about the performance of companies on the child booths?
So that one I think we already answered. So if the person who is a booth manager for the parent booth is also a booth manager or admin for the child booths, then yes. If they are not an admin for the child booths, then no. However, they could request that data from Informa, and then Informa can provide that data to them. But they won't see the data automatically unless they are signed as an admin of those child booths.
Matthew, one more question is, how would a virtual exhibition tour work on the Swapcard platform?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
How would a exhibition tour work on the Swapcard platform? Can you replicate exhibition tours here?
Yes, we can. So, and this would be depending on how you'd like it set up. But typically what we do is we set up a time for an exhibition tour. Maybe it's an hour-long tour. And what we'll do is we'll bring in, say, 10 booths, and we'll say each booth has 5 minutes to present. And so we'll create a session. People will join the session. The session will have 10 booth sponsors. We'll do kind of like a panel discussion, say a Zoom discussion like this, where one person from each booth will have 5 minutes to jump in, give a presentation. Probably won't be time for audio questions, but they can give a presentation. Then we'll switch to the next speaker and the next speaker. The attendees will be able to ask questions via text, and then the speakers can answer the questions via text, because we probably wouldn't have enough time to answer the questions verbally. But we can set that up with whatever rules or parameters you wish.
Matthew, just one comment that I've got that I can take here. So there have been quite a few questions about more information and more detail and getting copies of this recording. So absolutely, this is very much an introduction for you all to see the platform and experience it for yourselves. But we fully understand that there will need to be a lot more conversation around this functionality and what it could mean for you. So we'll follow up this session with the communication with more detail about everything. We'll include some documents, a copy of this recording, and then my team and I will be very happy to talk through this in more detail with you over the coming weeks. Okay. Any more questions before we wrap up? I think we have about 5 minutes to go.
We did have a question about company logins and how many people can log in at the same time. So we don't have a limit. This was similar to an earlier question. Each booth will be allowed to add a certain number of users. I'm not sure what that limit will be, but let's say it's 10 or 15 users. As many of those people can be logged in and using the platform and in the company profile at one time.
Okay. I think that's it then, Matthew. I'm not seeing any more questions coming in. So I think we will leave it there. As I mentioned, we will share this information with you as well as this recording, so you can experience it in a bit more detail. Sorry, as I'm speaking, I can see another question having come in while we have a few minutes left. So somebody's asked, to what extent would this session differ from preparatory webinars that would be delivered by Swapcard in Informa Tech? I think, the idea of this is a fairly informal introduction to the platform. where we're just talking you through it, kind of taking questions live. We would be in a position to, and we are actually as Informa Tech, putting together video guides and instructional information about how to get the best out of the platform from a sponsor's or exhibitor's perspective, as well as on the attendee side as well. So there'll be a lot more information to come. Also, we as Informa run hundreds of events globally all year, and we are using Swapcard for many of them. So we're getting more experience, more practical feedback, more data on the platform. So again, we'll be happy to share that with you during discussions about Africa Tech Festival. I think I will close it there because we may risk running over time.
We can just quickly, really quickly, sorry, Matthew. Just a couple of questions around data capture and how that happens and what it looks like. Would you be able to quickly show the dashboard?
For the exhibitor, like the exhibitor booth visits, or the data about an attendee that's collected? The
booth visits.
Yeah, so no problem. So they'll see as a booth owner, you'll see a dashboard like this. This is the homepage of what we call the exhibitor portal. Down at the bottom, you'll see this analytics of your company. It will show you how many people have visited your profile, how many people have bookmarked it, the number of leads that you've generated, the number of confirmed meetings you have set up, and then the average score of the leads that you have rated. So that's basically the summary data that you'll receive. And then if you go to the contacts, the team's contacts, you'll be able to download those exact, the data for those leads. And if you go to your meetings, you'll be able to download your meetings that have been set up.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Matthew. Thank you, everybody. Hopefully we covered most of your questions. I've been frantically answering many of them in the chat box. If we weren't able to answer yours specifically, we'll follow up directly with you to give you more information. Some people wanted things that are a bit more specific that would be less applicable to everybody on the line. But once again, thank you for your time. I hope you found this useful. There'll be plenty more information to follow, and I look forward to speaking to you all again soon. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, Becky.
Yeah, thanks, everyone.